Welcome, ladies and
All right,
gentlemen. You gotta go. Straight into the sun. Guys, welcome to the first episode of Two Summoners. My name's Papa Pike, and here I have...
Yeah, my name's Corby. How we going, guys?
Yeah, good. Well, there's no one here, man. There's no one here, because this is... Well, technically there will be people here watching. But Corby, how excited are you for Two Summoners? We've been planning this for a little bit. Mostly me, but that's okay. What are your thoughts moving into this, man?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to get this started. I'd always wanted to talk about / find an outlet to vent my rage about League of Legends and talk about LCO and stuff like that. So I'm kind of keen for this, man. What about you?
Oh man, well, I've been wanting to do this for a while too. I think the problem is that I just haven't seen anything that's worth putting some time into, but I was sort of we've met up now, we know each other, we're good buds. So I was like, who better person to do it with? So now that we're both keen to move into esports and start putting our stamp of approval into LCO and more, it could even go international, you never know. It's nice to sort of start moving towards there with this little podcast. But I think we're going to get started and just sort of explain what our plans are. Corby, I'm going to let you take this one.
Well, our plans were for this podcast is basically we're going to be just talking about LCO, some patches in League of Legends as a whole, teams and games and plays that we're excited about, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's just a general all-round oceanic sort of experience about what's coming up in League, getting to talk more about the players. We'll get interviews with players and coaches and all sorts of people moving forward. A lot of content creators as well have reached out and want to be a part of it. So if there are any content creators out there who would like to join in on Two Summoners, we're more than welcome to get people on board, just to get your thoughts on the scene, how you feel streaming in Australia, New Zealand, and even pro players, how you find the series and how you're finding each patch as you move along, any fan favorites. But Corby, I think we start off. What was your favorite patch before everything, before Two Summoners, before streaming? What was your favorite patch of League of Legends?
Favorite patch of League of Legends was the ZZ Rock Banner Command patch. That's my favorite patch. I remember having a team of 5 people I was versing, and they all ran ZZ Rock Banner of Command, and they just ran it down bot. It was the greatest rank game of my life. What about you, man?
Oh man, honestly, I think mine was definitely, it was season 3, and I just remember every game there was a Kha'Zix mid, and I was an AD carry. I was learning Ashe at the time, and I just was permanently dead. It was literally just grey screen gaming, but it was because I was getting new to the game, and all my mates were like, no, you're doing great. I'm just like, nah, bro, I hear you on your voice. You're like, you're fucking trash. I was like, oh, great. But that just boosted my confidence, man. I was like, you know what? I just need to prove it to them. So that was probably my favorite, just right at the beginning, just feeling that hatred / love.
Wait, when did you start playing League? Season 3?
Season 3.
Oh, I'm such a granddad. I started at the start of season 2.
No, that's not too bad. That was probably close to when I started, though, at the same time. But
there was numbers for rank. They didn't even have bronze back then.
Yeah, I remember that. I didn't play ranked back then because I was shit. But we don't have to worry about that. No, well, that's... Wow. So now we've already determined, viewers, that I'm the fun one. Corby's the mean one. So on the back of that, thanks, Corby.
You're welcome, man.
So okay, we're here now, Corby. Let's sort of talk about the start of season. I not only want to talk about the meta that's currently going on, but I want to talk about the cinematic that they brought out, which we've both probably got some pretty good thoughts on. But let's talk about start of season. What are your thoughts on this obvious tank meta?
I think it's pretty good. I kind of like the season right now. People are really upset that 80 carries are so weak, but I don't really care much because I'm not playing 80 carry too much. Yeah. Basically, all I've done in solo queue is play Darius and Ryze mid, Darius top Ryze mids. It's really not affecting me at all. I like Ryze, and he got buffed all his items, and he just got buffed. So it's just free low for me. What about you? What do you think?
Dude, well, I know it's the Rod of Ages came back, so it's awesome on Ryze. So he's laughing on that. But then he's also good on so many other champions, that Rod of Ages. So I won't even really worry too hard about that. But the Seraphs got buffed. Fuck off, man. That's so bullshit. All the champions I play don't even use these items, and I'm just walking around just trying to, I don't know, do something scat as fuck and trying to pull off these cool plays, and that's not happening because I'm still shit, as you said before.
But right, you play Yasuo.
No, I don't anymore. I've backed off the Yasuo.
I'm
reformed. I'm back. It's okay, guys. It's all right. No, I'm back on Fizz, and I'm now Irelia because she's actually pretty strong, but I don't build her Jack Show. I refuse to build Jack Show on her. I hate being a tank Irelia that just is permanently in these fights. I just want to get in, blow you up, throw knives at you, and then get the fuck out of there. That's just how I play Fizz. It's how I play Irelia. It's how I play Yone. I don't want to stay in a fight. What is this?
Yeah, but tank items go burr. It's so much fun right now.
Ah, but it's so boring. Like, why? It's like, I want to just get to the back line and kill someone and then try and fight a tank and then die because they're hurting me with fucking Thornmail.
Yeah, well, the start of the season is pretty good, but I'm actually pretty keen to see where it goes. They're actually nerfing a whole bunch of like the tanks as well. And they're nerfing Maokai and Amumu jungle, which is like rampant as well. I think that's kind of like cringe because I like Tree Man. But I think this season's gonna be pretty good. It's just weird that in preseason they don't make any changes and then rank starts and then they make heaps of changes.
Well, they've probably been listening to what people are complaining about, right? Like, which makes a bit of sense, but make some changes in preseason. Like, give us some sort of indicator, because coming out and just saying, oh, we're nerfing Jack Show on bruises, right? I'm like, yeah, fair enough. That's good. But it still doesn't really stop them when they're up against a tank and they're having to fight their way out. But I totally agree. I actually like the Amumu jungle, but I'm more of a fan of like the Heimerdinger support. If you haven't seen that, no joke, it's fucking funny. Because you'll stand there and you're just getting smacked with turrets and you're like, what the fuck's going on? Why am I half health at level 2 as an AD carry? And you're just like, oh, it's just fucking Heimerdinger being an absolute pain. And then you're like, okay, and then level 6, he's just going to kill you. And you're like, well, game's done. Like, AD carry's here.
Yeah, there were some Avalanche games that we were watching where that happened. We were casting those, and it's just so much fun. It's just different. I'm a big fan of it, man.
I don't think weird, unique picks are utilized enough. Like, you can take some weird shit anywhere. I've seen a Camille support in my placement games. Just let me say that again. Camille support, guys, as a support it worked though. It's just they didn't know how to react because I can't remember who they played. They played some like an AD carry that was really immobile. And it must have been like a Jinx or something, or Misfortune. And it's just every time they stood up, straight into the alcove and just went bang, cracked him, and it's like they capitalized, and they were just getting kills left, right, and center. I was like, dude. It's already a fed Camille, but it's not a top lane. I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm playing, but season 13 pulling up some goods.
Yes, ship it straight to LCO.
Yeah, straight in. Get it in. Yeah, it's okay. I'm just silver, though. Don't worry about it.
Hell yeah, dude.
But okay, so you're excited for the season. I'm pretty excited too. I think it has a lot of potential. I still think it's good, but I think it has a lot of potential as well. I think there are going to be some big things. I think tanks will get pulled out because I saw that they're looking to buff some AD carries, if I recall, or at least some of the items inside for AD carries. They're actually going to get really, really strong. So I know the Navari Quick Blades got a really nice buff, and that's given them a lot more to deal with. Like, again, I've versed a Tryndamere mid, and I've never been stepped on so hard. But
that's what I'm worried about because they're like reducing the crit like necessary for IE and quick blades from 60 to 40%. So I mean, if you're playing Tryndamere mid, you just go second item IE.
Yeah, and you're chilling. But no, I think it does help those AD carries though, because I think it's going from a 3 item actually a champion to 2 items. So
that's true.
I think that's going to really help out at least the bot lane, because it's true, bot hasn't felt some love in quite a while, and I'm sure a lot of people out there can probably agree with me. Support probably especially. I think because they were so strong for such a long time, like there's such a unique range of support players. Like you got hooks, you've got hard engage, you got tanks, you've got full damage, like you've got a lot of versatility, so you can, it's hard to sort of manage that. Does that make sense, Corby?
A little bit. What'd you go on your placements, by the way?
I went 6 and 4.
Oh, so did I. Wow.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with that. It was the last 3 that I just had hectic smurfs that openly were like, we're smurfing. I was like, okay. And that was the Tryndamere that was just like, I don't like Irelius, and just walked at me. And I was like, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. Level 6, I'm fucked.
I've gone 6 and 4 for the last like 5 years. I swear to God.
It means you're shit then. You're not improving. That's what that's telling me.
Sure.
You need to go 7 and 3 next year, or else.
It's never gonna happen. So I'm 6 and 4 curse.
I'm okay with that curse. That's pretty funny. At least you're still getting more wins than losses. Like technically 55% win rate. You're climbing. Yeah.
Can't be mad with it.
Wait, where did you end up though?
I got placed gold 3.
Fuck yeah. I got silver 2. I was okay with that. Considering I didn't play ranked properly at all last year. I hard gave up. Or food, thanks. Yum. The old lady has brought me my chicken burgers for dinner.
Chicken burgers?
Right? Yeah. Probably can't eat it now that we're on the podcast though, but I'm sure the viewers won't mind out there, right, Corby? If I just eat these delicious sandwiches.
Oh, you have to show it first.
Do I have to show it? They actually look. Yeah. Look at that. Look at those fuckers.
I can't see it, but I'm sure it's great.
Mate, they are. Ooh, it's got 2 different sauces. I bet you that's got QP mayo on it for sure. But okay, let's get back to League of Legends outside of my dinner. So we're looking forward to the season. Do you have anything else you want to say about the season before we jump into the esports pro scene or the LCO? Just getting into that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I've heard from the feedback that I've got from people that are a little bit higher ranked than myself. We're talking about like Diamond 1 area that they're not really that happy with the start of the season. I don't know if it's items, champion diversity, or it's just like the general attitude. But the thing that I've heard is people just are not feeling it. So hopefully a couple patches in, we're going to be feeling pretty good. Oh, and there's one cool change that I like. Jax, if you're AFK in the river, you get 1 gold every so many seconds. He fishes in river.
He fishes and he counts how many fishes he catches. I saw that. That's actually epic. That's so good.
League is saved. I'm just like, that's awesome.
Just fishing
it's an Angler Jax angle.
Wait, so is it only with that skin or is that all of him?
It's all of them, which I'm not happy about. But if it was only Angler Jax, it'd be so nice. But it's just Jax in total.
It would actually be funny if they did Angler Jax and then it actually did 2 gold instead of 1. So doubled it for having the skin. You know what? Riot, come on. Just hire us. It's the first podcast. Hire us. We already got the ideas going.
Ready. Imagine if I had a real weapon. Fishing rod.
I'm out of here. I'm fucking It's fuck you. Okay. Well, now let's jump into the LCO. We're going to go through with you guys just the teams that are coming up. We'll talk about the players. We're talking about, and after that, we'll go through predictions. I feel like for who we think is going to come in, because I want to do like a long-term prediction. Who's going to take the win mid-season, and then who's going to take the final win out of these teams. There probably will be some roster changes halfway through, but let's stick with MSI and see who's going to be doing their best to try and get there. But I think I want to do like a long-term bet. Like, who do you think is going to do it? And I think we need to put some pretty high stakes on it. But let's firstly go through these teams and sort of have a bit of a look, right? So first team off the bat, let's go with the LCO champions. Corby, do you have that list?
Yeah, I do.
Let's go through it.
Well, we have Chiefs, which are looking pretty good. They've got Biopanther and Kisei, which is like 2 of the solo laners that I'm really keen on watching. They've brought back Raze on ADC and Aladoric as well. Man, I'm keen.
Dude, they lost their roster right here. Like, I actually heard about this before they announced it. I was like, okay, that's pretty hectic. But they've also got Cupcake sitting there as the sub. But I'm pretty sure Cupcake is actually looking to be assistant coach too. So regardless of being sub, is going to be helping out there. But yeah, that team is looking so strong. The second they got Biopanther, I was like, that looks like another championship.
Yeah, stacked. I really like the Chiefs lineup. I'm just upset before we continue. I'm just upset. I made so much cringe Gravitas content that I was uploaded like every now and then onto the LCO. They're now gone. All that effort and that character defamation that I went through. Nothing.
Well, yeah, because some teams have left us now, right? So we got Order, we got Gravitas. Like, I actually can't believe that though. Like, we've got some new teams, of course, that we will break down for you guys as well. But yeah, some teams had to bail out. Like Order, we all know the sort of scandal behind that. But so were you signed with Gravitas as like a content creator?
Signed.
Okay.
Yeah. Not really for like any. I mean, I got a stubby holder. That's
your payment.
Yeah, no, well, Sean was always Sean, the guy who owned Gravitas, was always like super nice to me, and he would just like kind of wanted to get my name out there and stuff like that on LCO. So it was kind of like he kind of put me on for exposure. But yeah, I did all the content for, I think I did like 5 weeks worth of content over the year, so like 5 videos for LCO.
That's not bad though. Like that's still pretty sick. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, but I just basically made like vlogs. It's like I made Gravitas content and I'm just like, what's up, guys? And then I did like a shoey in one of them. Oh man, that's content.
Oh mate, okay. It's now that you instantly said Shuey and you've piqued my interest. I'm gonna say for the bet's a Shuey.
What on what team wins?
Yeah, whoever gets closest to the team, like their team winning.
Yeah, but we can both just say Chiefs and then
Okay. How about we're not allowed to say Chiefs because we're pretty confident that's the winner. How about we say whoever's going to get second?
What about personal favorites or like dark horse people that we think are going to do like pretty decent?
Yeah, all right, I like that. We'll have to go through the list though because I want to pick out some names.
All right.
Yeah, I think.
What's the next team? You can go through.
Next team. Okay, so we got Direwolves. They finished fourth in Split 2 last year. This is a pretty good team comp as well that I've got. So Zeranis, we got Poltron, which I'm pretty excited for. Poltron's been doing some awesome shit. We got Chaz, we got Pradith as well. So he was PGG. That's really nice to see him moving over to another team. And then Decoy. And then you got your coach as Valaxis. You got some big names who've definitely sort of stamped like a bit of a no. What's the right word for it? They've definitely put themselves in the right limelight, I'd say. Pradith being such a good AD carry. And Poltron, always very aggressive. I think was up there with probably one of the best junglers in LCO, especially I think last year in Split 2. So I think that's a good team to sort of keep an eye on.
Yeah, I like Pradith has obviously already proved himself as a decent AD carry. To the layman, like you see him, he's pretty solid. Most of the games that he played was all decently well. So I like Pradith. I like Poltron as well. Poltron had an issue in the past with like champion pool, but he showed in LCO last year that he's happy to pick up and play any champion, and he always performs at a decent level. Super happy with that. Coach Valixis, pretty good too. So overall, I would say the standouts to me in that lineup is definitely Pradith and Poltron.
Yeah,
the rest,
sure.
I'm keen to see others.
Look, I think with this tank meta that's coming through, I think the top lane really needs to be setting the score, right? Like they need to start having some say. And I think that's why I'm really keen for Cassante to be in the next set, because Cassante is a strong laner, but also has a really good team fight too. It's literally just a tanky Gasuo that throws you through a wall. I think we're going to see him very, very popular, and if I'm just talking about champions, but I think tank and top meta is going to be really, really well sought after. So are you expecting maybe even a lot of communication heading towards Rift Heralds and getting those early tower plays? I think we can break this down maybe in another episode, and maybe even after the first split, as I believe the LCO does start next week, if I'm not wrong, Corvi, as today is the 18th.
I'm not sure.
I saw something. I saw my mate Buzz, who is actually one of the Chiefs content creators as well. He's literally saying, when does the co-stream come out? So I think if we could both get co-stream Corvi, we could do some recordings directly into that, even stream one night, then record the other night, which could be hella fun. But again, like there's a lot to play. But again, let's get to the next team. We can talk about this later. We don't have to waffle on. At least now, guys, you know that there's more content coming, right? It's nice to know. Ooh, are you going to take this one? This is a new team.
Ground Zero Gaming. Yeah, Ground Zero Gaming is kind of interesting. They're coming in with, I don't want to say like a bad lineup, but I'm not a really fan of any of them except Bulldog coming in support. The rest I really haven't seen much of. Oh, Mayfen in the jungle. And Fido mid. Actually, you know what? Not too bad.
That's what I'm about to say. Like I'm saying, you're talking about these names like it's not ideal, but dude, they've got Toppy also potentially in the top lane. Like we've seen.
I said
Toppy.
Fido. Sorry, I was reading off Kanga's lineup. Fido and Mayfen are in Kanga. Never mind.
Well, dude, we'll get to that. But they've also got Hooper. Like you can't not discourage Hooper.
Yeah, I like Kanga's lineup.
But okay, so
sorry.
So maybe we'll go back to Ground Zero, or do you want to keep going with Kanga?
Oh no, we got Ground Zero. We've called them out. We can go to Kanga later.
Well, okay, so Ground Zero, like I'm looking at it, we've got Tron/Toppy in the top lane. I'm loving Toppy though. If they can keep Toppy on, that's awesome. Gooby as their jungler. They got how do you even say that? Memphis?
Emphas?
Emphas?
I think it's Emphas.
So Dante. Then you said you got Bulldog there. And Ali G, my man. And then you got Coach Arsh though. How can you not be keen for Arsh? Like he's going to lead that team to something good. I actually saw that announcement just the other day too on Twitter, and fuck, it was funny. They made it look like he was homeless.
Yeah, they did the double lift thing when he
Yeah.
left CLG. That was pretty good. I like that. Look, I like Ash. Me and Ash are friends, so I'm keen to see how he goes with Ground Zero.
Mate, I
Ground
think
Zero's lineup isn't like it hasn't. They're like bottom three potential, but like I'm keen to
yeah.
see if they can pop off. I think they're still bottom three.
I think they are bottom three. If I'm being honest, I think you're right. But I think if there's any coach that can do it, I think Arsh has the capability to maybe pull them out a little bit. If you know what I mean, I think he's got some good stuff going for him. Hopefully, he leads them to some victories. New team, eager to prove themselves. Now let's go to your favorite team. Apparently, that you just don't even want to look at the other teams. Kanga.
I really like Kenga. I think Kenga's lineup is like pretty slept on because we both like Hooper.
Yeah, I love
I
Hooper.
like Fido mid a lot, and I
Yeah.
think Mayfen jungle. Mayfen is probably one of the best slept on junglers
Yeah.
in LCO. He always gets looked over because like we have Surefire in and like Babip in the league.
Yep.
But I think Mayfen is so
Dude, he's such a good player. He's up there. He is probably maybe top 3 or 4 junglers easily. But also you got Paprise as well, who we did see last year do some pretty good stuff. I can't remember who he played for. Played for someone. I'd have to go back and have a look. But honestly, I'm really excited for that. But they've got Blue as well. So obviously they've got a couple little moving parts in the top lane. It's always good. But again, but can you forget Brendan? But my boy Shinky. My boy Shinky.
Yeah, we like Shiggy. Paprise played for, I believe it was Mammoth.
That makes sense. But Mammoth
and he
was
played Kale, didn't he? He played like a bunch of Kale games, and then that's how he was like.
Oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't play Kale.
No. Kale was good, but that was their like win con. They would just kind of like hold on, grit their teeth, and then look, yeah, he just happened to be level 16. We win now.
But how do you play that into a team that is like Chiefs that will just run the game from start to finish? They play off their own team. Like if you're saying yeah, we'll play till late game, which we noticed was a lot of the LCO teams. They played for the late game because we don't know how to fucking play the early game. We don't know how to prioritize objectives properly. This is what I noticed. You can say you disagree, but this every time was sort of like we'd find Fourth Dragon was at like 35 minutes plus, and you sort of like, bruh, just you can be better than that. You watch all these people in LPL, you got LCK, they are just everywhere at all times. Everyone has TP. Everyone's coming for team fights at like the first 5 minutes. Like we need to start seeing some movement and like that. But again, I think that comes down to what we're used to in Oceania. We're slow. I think there's too much like bread in the air. We've probably got a little bit of yeast in our body or some shit. We're just too slow to shit. We don't react fast enough.
I think game length is going to increase though, because they've like buffed tier builds and like later game champions, so it could slow down to like back to around 30-35 minutes.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Oh, look, that's all right. But I want to look at the Coach Eags. I actually did a lot of work with Eags as well. He was actually the Avalanche head coach too when we were actually casting for them, Corby. So I got to speak to him a lot. So maybe we could reach out to him and see if he wants to do an interview. I know you could probably get Ash as well. I'm actually good mates with Ash too. So close to getting him on Facebook. That close. That close, man.
Yeah, I
So
could
close.
probably get Ash on. I'll be keen to see what he thinks of the new org and everything as well, because when you work with someone like a team that's already been in the league for like a year, 2 years, and then you start coaching / being a part of a team that's just entering the league, the dynamic / how it feels could be super weird. I'll be keen to hear what he thinks about that.
Oh, for sure. That'd be really, really good. And I'm keen to get Eags on just to see his sort of train of thought coming from Kanga, they were a top 4 team, I believe, no, 5th. They came 5th. So they've got some standing, right? Like they've got some experience. So going to another experienced coach is going to be really exciting. So we'll see if he's keen for anything. But okay, next team, the team we were just talking about just subtly before, Mammoth. Walk me through it.
Mammoth is an interesting team. They've picked up a couple people from Gravitas. They have a really good...
Your best team, your favorite team.
yeah. Well, they were my favorite team, but unlucky. They have a good ADC. They have a decent jungle. I know a lot of these teams. They have Chi-Chi top lane. They have Akano coming into the jungle. Mid Dajon. Yeah. Love him. He's actually a really decent, solid mid lane pick. He always did okay. He was the best player on Gravitas when they were there. So be interesting to see him in a new dynamic. Maybe he'll do even better. Or maybe he was just like the diamond with the coal. Who knows? So voice ADC also pretty solid. Not popping off in many games, but always did okay. And I haven't seen or heard of many games from Entrust. He's flight under my radar.
Oh, look, that's okay. Like it's someone we can look into a little bit further down the line and see how they're doing. Obviously, if we get a good play out of them, we're going to show it on the podcast anyway. So at least show some people what's going on. And Sahil as their coach. Do we know Sahil at all? I have not heard of him before.
I haven't heard of the name either.
Fresh coach, fresh set of eyes. That could be exciting. Mammoth obviously got some things coming up. But let's jump into the next one. This is the team post or just beat Mammoth in the lineup. Came 6th in the LCO last split. Peace. We got some players on there.
Yeah, I think Peace went for a full imported roster, I think. I haven't really heard of many of these people at all. No. I know Chanyan, but the rest of them are completely new to me. I haven't heard of or seen most of them, at least in the OCE region. So this could be a wild card team, either pop off or come last, I think.
Look, it comes down. I think what we found with imports as well, they either do exactly that. They do really well, or they just can't hold it together and they just get beaten by players that have played together for so much longer. Because if you don't have that, the ability to sync with your team, right, and know what you're doing, yes, you can be high elo player, you can be like fucking challenger for all I care, but if you don't know how to play well with others, you're not going to do well. It's a team game after all. But that's what everyone in Silver says. And then they'll go AFK. But that's cool. Pentanet.
Pentanet. I reckon this is going to be a decent team because they're led by my favorite jungler in the league, Schönfire. Schönfire is like an insanely good player, and I also like Violet as AD carry. So they have Chippies coming in top, Schönfire jungle, mid Dongi, previously Winterer, Appy, and then they have a Western Way as the coach.
Why would you change your name from Winterer to Dongi? That's the first question. Dongi, what the fuck are you doing, bro?
Look, as a caster, you have to agree. It's so much more fun to say Dongi and Toppy and like other Winterer. It's just boring because it's too perfect of a name.
Dongi?
True. It's a good name.
Dude, he's just whipping out his dick in the fucking rib. That's not the place for it. You don't do it.
Mate, it's a sick name.
I'm not saying it's a bad name. I'm just saying, is it the right name?
C9 had a dude called Balls. It's completely fine.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. Fair enough. But but I think one thing I want to talk about here, not only Chippies in the top lane, we know Chippies is like one of the best in the region. I think him versus Biopanther is going to be something phenomenal to see throughout first split. That's definitely the game to watch. So I think you and I should just do like a full watch of that game and see how it goes and just reaction, because that's going to be phenomenal. But Schönfire as well, because he went international. He went over to the academy in NA. I think for 2 years, something like that. He was playing for some pretty hectic teams, and then he's coming back.
I'm actually super keen. I really want like a good OC team with foreign experience, because LCO is still relatively new. The OC as itself is all really new. So when you go to an establishment where it has like a gaming building, 1,000 coaches, and it has all this infrastructure built up, like NA, I think it'll be interesting to see how he comes back with that experience and kind of just says to management or whoever, this is what we could do, this is what we can change, and this is what I like doing.
It's the fresh set of eyes.
It obviously works. Yeah, it's
the fresh set of eyes, and that's the big thing that the LCO needs, man. They need to start. This is why I don't know why. Again, this is probably a topic for another time, but why is there no OCS? We need an OCS. We need something so we can actually start seeing talent that's rising and who's actually controlling the game, because then we'd be building bigger rosters. But again, topic for another conversation. We'll move on. I'll leave that down the wayside. I have so much to say. So maybe we can talk about that maybe towards the end of this, as we're sort of complaining about the company we want to work for, but that's all right. But okay, Team Bliss, another fresh face on the block. Do you want me to go through these? Because there is one player in particular that three actually that I'm pretty keen for. 4 technically. Well, this roster's
really good.
Lived in the top lane. why not? Who's been so keen to get into the scene for quite a few years now. I was really keen when I heard that because he's been working so fucking hard. So big props to you, man. Yeah, yeah.
Just a bench warmer for the past 5 years.
Dude.
They're not keen.
Daystar as well in the mid lane. That's going to be really, really nice to see. And Lima's big name, lot to prove. And Benvi. Dude, Benvi runs that bot lane. He loves to control that shit. You've also got Beats in there as well. That looks to be their sub. And then you got Calvin. You know what? I actually really appreciate Calvin. It's not actually his name, but it's just his coach name, Calvin. Fuck yeah, dude. Well done. Keeping it simple for me.
I think Blizzard's actually done a ridiculously good job as their first touch into League of Legends.
Yeah.
Like, they've built a good roster. So they obviously have done their research. They've talked to players, coaches, other people in the league, and they've actually have a decent roster.
Well, you know what? You know what's really funny about this? The way I'm looking at this, they've actually taken Gravitas' spot. So are you going for Team Bliss this year, Corby? Is that what's going on?
Oh, man, as my dark horse, I have some opinions, but I don't want to say yet.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. Well, that's actually all the teams this split. So like, all right, but besides Chiefs, who's sticking out to you the most?
Oh, crap. I think PGG. I think PGG, PGG will be second, and then look, I want to say Direwolves will be third, but I kind of want Bliss or Kanga to be third.
I genuinely think, not Bliss. No, I think it will be Kanga actually. The more that I'm looking at it, I think Kanga's got some big names in there. Like, I think everyone hypes up Hooper so much. It's a lot of pressure to put on the poor kid's shoulders. But I think he can live up to it. Dude, I'm pretty sure he's like just turned like 19 or something. Jesus. I don't know. Mate, I could not tell you, but he's young. He's so young, literally a prodigy. So I think there's a lot on Hooper's shoulders, but I think he can live up to it. I think they've built a good roster around him. I think Shinky and Hooper is a nice combo. And I know Eags has been coaching Hooper for a while now too. So the fact that Eags has taken this roster and said, okay, let's work on it. It feels to me almost there's still some good players like Fido. Again, I can't ignore that. Paprise, Shinky too. But like what they did with Faker in SKT is they sort of built the team around him for so long that Faker was the star player. Is Hooper that player? Is this what they're trying to do?
I think the difference between Kanga and Bliss, which are the two teams that I'm putting against each other for mid to high pack, is I think Kanga's got a split 2 roster and Bliss has a split 1 roster. I think Kanga needs time. I think Kanga needs like time, or at least halfway through this. Like, maybe give him like 5 weeks in split 1. I reckon they're like way better. Yeah. They just need some like on actual, I don't want to say stage, but like the actual games where people are watching, they need some more experience together. I don't know how scrims are going. I haven't got any inside leaks. Where I think Bliss are just going to come out. They're all really good players. Yeah. I think Daystar mid is probably better, if not as good as Kisei, which is Chiefs mid laner. So I think Chaz and Fido are also like really up there for mid laners. So that's Direwolves and that's Kanga's mid laners. Yeah. So I just think you chuck Bliss in and they can probably fight any team. They'll probably still drop games to Chiefs, but I think they can beat majority of the teams.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing is how are these teams going to fare against the Chiefs, right? Like, they've obviously brought out the star lineup. Every single player in that lineup is there to win.
Yeah.
If they lose lane, I'd be shocked. In saying that, I kind of expect them to maybe lose a couple games here and there. I don't think they're going to get the perfect run that they got almost last year. Well, near perfect. I think there will be some contenders in there, or at least some close calls, where Chiefs will still bring it back. But I think there's going to be some teams that will say, no, we're going to give you a run for your money. You need to earn that number 1 spot again. So I'm keen to see how this split's going to turn out, which brings us on to sort of our next topic, Corby, is like thoughts on what's coming up in the LCO. Like, we noticed that Kitty has left the LCO. Our star interviewer, who led the LCO for a full year, has decided to go LPL.
Yeah, I'm actually really happy for Kitty. She did such a good job. She came in for Nat after she left to do Dota, and she went from seeming decently shy at the start to really growing super quick into an interviewer role. Whether that be through the help of the rest of the cast, I think she grew really quick, and congrats on picking up such a like prestigious role. LPL is really good to get into early. Oh,
for sure. It's actually huge because I know that actually LPL's also brought in some fairly new talent in as well. So it's like nice to see that other regions, that's just me with my sad face, other regions are bringing in new talent, and they're really starting to shine. So it's good to see that, but it's also good to see that OS has that talent too, like that we've actually got up and comers that are moving forward. Pike and Corby. Not subtle, was it?
No, I'm really happy to see OC people in anywhere. It's
no,
like when I see OS players go to NA and they pop off. Like we have top laners in Fudge, 80 carries in FBI, like overseas. Like that shit just makes me feel like we're actually fostering decent talent.
Yeah.
And it's not only pro talent in 80 carries and top laners. We have like decent production talent, and we can grow talent as well, which is a big one. Because having people just like go away is one thing, but having new people start in LCO, grow, and then step up again, it means we can foster decent talent. So we have like room to grow, and it like other companies might see that and
try and invest and get more stuff into the LCO. But yeah, I think that's probably the one thing that I'm nervous about when it comes to the LCO is exactly what we're talking about, is all of our talent does go elsewhere. So
yeah, we're proving grounds.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We are literally proving grounds. But okay, I want to pitch an idea to you. And I want to see what your reaction is. And I sort of prepped this subtly on the side because I knew this conversation would happen. What does the LCO need to do to step up and actually keep not only players that are good in the league, but to make a bit more of a stance in international stages? What do we need to do? Is there anything you can see that is maybe like the first off the bat, we change this could help?
That's a really hard question because LCO is so young. As like a broadcast developing thing, but I think they're doing as much as they possibly can. It's just the interest in competitive esports in Australia is way lower just because our population size is lower. Look, the best thing we can possibly do is try and find ways to touch on if people in Australia aren't watching the games, when we have decent production, decent hosts, decent players, we need to find ways to get eyes from other places. So Peace could be a great team for that because they're all people from, they're all just all import teams.
Yeah.
So maybe you have a whole bunch of random people from overseas looking at the games, and then news outlets from over there are like posting the stats from their games. It could be decent.
Look, I actually think that's mine, and this is going to be like the most mundane answer, but I've thought about this so much because I was like, if they hired me and they're like, Pike, what is the strategy? What do we need to fucking do to get this going? I'm like, all right, this is what we're going to do. We need just that little bit more money that we can put into the players and the teams, right? Because you can't, it's the biggest part, man. Like I've broken it down almost like dollars and cents value of how much we probably need. But it's, if we could get the players that could be not only imports, but get the right balance of talent from Oceania and import, because obviously you said Peace is all import. Love that. I'm actually a huge fan for that. I think that's really important because we need these players from other regions stepping up and showing us what other places are doing. I think because we're just a cheeky little island that we're sitting off to the side, we don't really get any exposure from the outside world. So when you said we're sending people over and some are coming back, fucking awesome. That's what we need because they've built a reputation over there. And like you said, they're bringing it back to us. But if we had the money to get players to say, okay, it's worth staying in LCO because fiscally we can stay and it's worth our time. That's why players are leaving, because these teams, even academy teams over in NA, are like, we'll pay you triple. And they're like, deal, let's fucking go. It's
not even triple. It's like they're actually paying them wages and proper wages. Because like I said, my connection with LCO last split was through Gravitas, and I knew what all of them were getting paid. And it's like pathetic amount of money, but it's a money sink.
That's it. That's what it's coming down to. So I think the hard part is, again, because we are so new, we're so green in the League of Legends world, I think we've been to enough worlds now where Riot should be looking at us and saying, okay, we might not be the biggest market, but we have something going for us, right? It might be worth putting a couple dollars and cents into us and seeing how can we boost them up to give them a little bit more love, because obviously they wouldn't want to have a team that's just constantly coming last in world international tournaments and just looking like shit. But like that's where it needs to be, is there needs to be some sort of executive decision to be like, okay, let's put some more money into it. Let's give these teams a little bit of love, make them feel like they're needed, not even wanted, needed. Like, because that's what everyone wants, right? And give them that chance to prove. Like if someone said, all right, we're going to pay you a good amount of money and we're going to get you to play for us, I could be the worst player ever, but I'm going to work so fucking hard for that team because I know they're going to be backing me at the same time. So there needs to be that level of trust between player and organization, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, it just LCO and Australia just always fall short because it's a multitude of different things. But one, we're on an island by ourselves. Two, whenever we broadcast, and being a streamer and a content creator, I know the best times to go live. I know when everyone's up. I know like the individual time slots, and I know for a fact when LCO is broadcasting, it is the worst time internationally for like Europe and NA to like watch the games as well.
Yeah.
So what overseas sponsor or what overseas fan is going to stay up until like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning for the start of LCO?
Yeah.
No. What European person's going to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning to watch the start of LCO? Fucking absolutely no one.
Nah, fuck that. I wouldn't.
Yeah, so you have to be a really hard, dedicated fan, and it's not like we can have a dedicated audience because we're so new and no one's really heard of it overseas. Plus, Riot Games kind of like left 2 years ago, so it's like, oh, they're back this year.
Well, they're back. I know a little bit more information on that if you'd like to hear it, and I would love to hear it. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say too much, but I do know this comes back to the conversation of the OCS, right? Like, I'm not sure if you know, but I think they specifically chose not to have an OCS. Like, the LCO literally decided in a meeting somewhere saying, no, we're not going to do it. I'm not sure why. There's no reasoning. I just literally found out that they just said, no, it's not happening. So I think that decision was enough for them to be like, well, we don't really give a shit. Or at least they're saying we need to develop one thing first, start from the base of it, and then build, which at the same time makes sense. And I'm trying to say it as diplomatically as possible so that they don't go, well, what the fuck's this guy talking about? He doesn't know what he's talking about. But from a viewer, content creator, and a streamer's point of view, I 100% agree. We're not doing things in the best interest of promoting us. Does that make sense?
It does, because there was 3 levels. When I started taking League relatively, air quotes, seriously, there was 3 levels. There was amateur, then there was OCS, then there was OPL. So in amateur, I was versing players like Poltron, I was versing players like Akano, and it was a decent community to like get your toes into and know a bunch of players, get some decent experience, and then you can use that as a leverage to step up. And then use that experience in OCS to step up. I just don't see the path to progression to LCO anymore. Not really, except tournaments that we host with. The Weekend Warriors does one. Avalanche did one that was really successful, probably the best one that's been done.
Yeah, for sure.
Besides that, I just don't see any exposure for up-and-coming talent. So if there's no exposure, there's no like anything there. Like, it's kind of like when you build a reputation and that reputation building step is just gone. So who really cares? You're just going to become a solo queue rat, and then you're going to have solo queue rats in LCO, and they have no hype around them at all. So it's a bunch of randos until they play for a full split or 2 splits. It's too slow. It's too slow.
100%. I can't even, you've literally hit the nail on the head. There's nothing I can say about that. That's bang on. I think we need to start speeding up to slow down, if that makes sense. You got to go a little bit faster for us to actually sit comfortably and do well.
Yeah, there's trickle down and then there's trickle up. You just need to like build these players. Yeah. So when there's talent leaving, because what happens if, like, say the whole Chiefs lineup gets deleted? Like all the players from Chiefs, BioPanther, like all these people, they just leave. Like, you just have all newbies.
Yeah.
Like, you just delete like the top 2 teams, and then it's just a bunch of randoms from solo queue.
And overseas.
Yeah, so it's like, if you delete the 2 teams, then you had people that are playing for a couple years or like a year, then people already know these names and they step up. It's like, oh, I'm keen to see how they go on the next step. Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
it's just...
I think we're expecting a lot from this split. I think this split will be a bit of a make or a break. You know what I mean? Like, I think they actually had a fairly good year last year. Like, I think there could have been a bit more intrigue. There could have been a bit more hype around the finals, around heading into the games. I think, I'm not going to say production was not good. I think the production value was actually quite good. I think the LCO as a watch was very entertaining. They had a lot of stuff, kept viewers entertained. I thought that was fantastic. I think they just need to start taking it to the next level. I think they need more people in the broadcast. They need, like, one host, awesome, but they get a couple other casters in there. Not that we don't love Rusty and Skimmy. Peace out, my homies. Stay beautiful. But I think it feels like it's just the same people over and over and over and over again. We're not seeing, and you said the comment of fresh blood coming in and taking over a whole team. We need to start seeing a bit of fresh blood to start making way for both old and fresh blood to work together. Because we can't keep running the same shit over again and expect it to be successful, right? It's just not how it works. So
it just comes down to money at the end of the day.
It's money, man. It's just bang on money. But okay, that's fine. They'll figure it out. I think there's room to grow. Let's stay optimistic about it, right? There's room to grow. There's opportunities. But no, is there anything you sort of wanted to talk about? I think we are sort of wrapping up the first episode as we lead into the first split of the year. Anything else you want to comment on in regards to LCO? Like, I'm really curious who's coming back. So Kitty's not coming back.
Yeah, I'm curious on the broadcast team as well. I think we're definitely going to have Rusty and Skimmy on there as the staple of LCO.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
I'm not 100% sure who's host going to be, because there was talk of Mac leaving just to do like CSGO and Valorant.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm curious, but it's going to be exciting. So we will bring that up in the next episode, guys. But no, I think we've got a lot to look forward to. I think we're going to have a lot of fun doing this. Now, guys, in the comments section, please go through, send us links of awesome plays that you guys do. I would love to do like a ranking system. You know, that's sort of the ranked where you can actually watch ranked plays and guess where they're at and see what they are.
Right, yeah.
I think if we do that with our community, get them to send through little clips. Obviously, you can do that on like Overwolf and all those third-party programs. Not sponsored by Overwolf, so don't worry about that. But send them through. Let's have a bit of a laugh. Like, we'll try and get them up on the channel. I think we got the production for that. And me and Corby can try and guess what rank you are. And if we're wrong, I don't know, Corby will gift you a sub.
No, I won't. Dude, LCO doesn't pay. Do you think I will? Come on.
Well, okay, how about we do 1 for 1? So we're only going to do a couple of videos. We'll do 1 for 1 each week. How does that sound? We'll do like 1 or 2 videos that we can pick at random. And then
PC. If you win, you get the PC paid by Papa Pike. $1,000 PC every week.
Mate, we need to get sponsored by Elgato or some shit and then be like, oh, give you a stream deck. But okay, Corby, any final words before we wrap up and get these people to go watch some other League of Legends content?
Nah, man, I'm good. I'm pretty keen to get this started and rolling. If there's any topics and stuff that you guys want us to top on / talk into / what you thought was interesting, yeah, write that down as well. Because always looking for interview questions, because we will be getting, like you said, people on. Mm-hmm. So if you want us to ask something in particular coming from the League of Legends community, because we're just going to like brainstorm and make up our own. But if you have anything that you guys want to hear or ask specifically, write that down.
Yeah, or even get some suggestions of people you'd like us to interview. We'll reach out to them. I'm happy to message anyone and anything. It's just a cheeky webcam call, so they might be game, they might not be, but it's always worth asking. So if there's any player, any person in the industry you'd like, I know I can get some management if you have specific questions around that. Guys, we're going to try and cover off every little bit of detail we can. Hopefully, I think the first couple of weeks we'll maybe do, in 2 weeks' time, we'll do another podcast. We might be able to do one more next week. But once the season kicks off, we're going to aim for one podcast a week. So at least you guys will be nice and informed for every game and everything happening in the season. But guys, thank you all so much for joining us on the first episode of Two Summoners. I've been Pike and he's
Coffee.
And until next time, guys, thank you for joining us and we'll see you on next week's episode.
Bye, guys.